India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, with sustainable growth potential of more than 8% over the next several years. A key driver for sustainable growth is ecologically and economically viable energy, the natural choice for which is renewable energy. The India Renewable story gathered traction around 2010 and has grown to a capacity of 38 gigawatts. With the technological advancements and government thrust on renewable energy, India is well placed to leverage on this opportunity and achieve energy security. This presents a huge opportunity for the financing community, and there has been a lot of encouragement to fund renewable energy by various stakeholders. However, one needs to be cautious and fully comprehend the risks in financing renewable energy projects and mitigants thereof. In a sector witnessing dynamic techno-commercial shifts, how does one go about choosing bankable projects? Are the new technologies sustainable over a longer tenure? And do the manufacturers have an established track record? Are the evacuation and contractual risks adequately addressed? Renewable energy projects have their own set of risks and challenges, requiring special expertise in evaluating technical parameters and financial structuring. L&T Infra Finance is one of the leading financiers in renewable energy sector and has a stellar track record in funding renewable energy projects. Let us look at the story of L&T Infra Finance.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Bankers Meet of L&T Infrastructure Finance. We were set up in 2007 with a primary focus of being a preferred player for financing infrastructure projects in the country, and to utilize the strengths of Larsen & Toubro Limited in their knowledge of the engineering that goes behind the infrastructure sector. The turning point in our business came somewhere in 2010 and 11, where we got two things. One was we became a public financial institution, and where we were also given the category of an infrastructure finance company. We were able to start financing projects in consortium with the banking sector and finance all the sectors such as coal thermal, renewables, roads, etc. Currently, we have now emerged in the last couple of years with a very strong focus on three sectors. We have 27% of our book today in renewables, which is a very large call which we have taken vis-a-vis any of the infrastructure financier in the country. The second large sector where we have exposure is roads, where again we are emerging as a leading player in refinancing projects through our infrastructure debt fund. Lastly, yes, we are also participating in a number of refinancing across sectors, whether it's transmission, whether it's coal thermal projects which have achieved COD, whether it's port projects which have achieved commissioning, as also lease rental discounting, and therefore having a very diversified portfolio across infrastructure sectors. Today, we are also getting into non-infrastructure financing. So what has enabled us to grow from a 10,000 crore company in 2011 to a 25,000 crore company as we stand today? What have been the reasons for our success? First and foremost is a very disciplined approach towards project finance. We do not evaluate merely the borrower and go ahead based on a name lending approach. Our focus on business is that we have to know the business better than that of our borrower. So we have a very sophisticated technology assessment, sophisticated resource assessment, sophisticated traffic assessment, and other such areas, so that we are better able to partner, even advise our borrowers as to how to do their business. And if the parameters of the borrower are different from the way we look at it, our discipline insists that we do not finance projects which do not meet our appetite. So focus has been on discipline in terms of setting out parameters which we adhere to and which we follow in letter and spirit. We ensure that because of our parameterized approach, we are able to deliver solutions to clients within 3 weeks for renewable clients, which is the fastest in the country. And each and every deal also incorporates a lot of flexibilities which the client is looking for, which makes us give winning offers to the client.
L&T Infra Finance is a part of L&T Finance Holdings, a financial services group with presence across corporate and infrastructure finance, retail finance, housing finance, mutual fund and capital markets. L&T Infra Finance is present across the entire gamut of infrastructure financing, with comprehensive product offerings spanning project and structured finance, capital market products, debt and equity advisory and equity investments. In a short journey of less than a decade, L&T Infra Finance has emerged as a leading financier for renewable energy projects. Let's see how the green story of L&T Infra Finance has evolved.
L&T Infra's brush with renewable sector financing started about 5 years back. Many of my banker friends would recall that banking system's first interaction with renewable, particularly wind sector financing in the previous decade was not so satisfying. The opportunity came in the form of Gujarat solar sector beginning and serious IPP players entering wind sector. We decided to take a very close look at the opportunity. We began by applying the lessons learned from challenges faced in infra financing earlier. Also, recognizing that the renewable sector is a futuristic sector and it will take a different approach. We went about this task in a very meticulous manner, relying upon L&T's expertise on the EPC side, in particular solar EPC side, in terms of technical inputs. So the cornerstones of our strategy were technical expertise, a very close review of state-by-state renewable sector policies, efforts to influence state's policy in such a manner that projects become more bankable. Diligence in terms of site-specific diligence such as evacuation, designing, resource diligence. All these inputs went into evolution of the framework for renewable financing. And this was also the time when the cost of solar projects started coming down, which subsequently led to growth of the sector. While designing the framework for renewable financing, we were very conscious that of the formats to support and the formats not to support. We also went about discovering different structures for group captive, for example, compared to feed-in tariffs. Over the years, as L&T Infra acquired thought leadership in the sector, we chose to share very transparently, very openly our experiences in the sector with our partner banks, and we continue to do so. In so many banks, we have had these discussions at board level also, sharing our portfolios, performances, lessons learned, which we continue to apply as we continue to refine this framework. So essentially, we believe that the best way to grow is to grow along with others. Hence, we look forward to continued partnership with the banks in taking this industry forward and also responding proactively to the changes as they unfold, so that all of us are always up to date in terms of responses to the requirements of the sector.
L&T Infra Finance is always at the vanguard of renewable energy financing. At the RE Invest Summit, held by Ministry of Power in February 2015, L&T Infra Finance committed to fund 6,500 megawatts of renewable energy projects in 5 years. Projects supported by L&T Infra Finance are spread across India in Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. Renewable energy projects financed by it have achieved COD in line with the estimates, a testimony to L&T Infra Finance's strong project evaluation and selection skills.
We approach renewable energy financing as a cash flow focused financing. We evaluate the promoter's execution track record as well as their strategic commitment to the sector as in the long term. And unless we are satisfied with their wherewithal and with a demonstrated track record to back it, we stipulate 100% equity to be infused upfront. The construction for such projects is relatively simpler and to some extent modular. We analyze and profile the equipment suppliers or the vendors for such projects. In addition to looking at the contractual structures, we also see their past records or their order book positions so that we are sure they will be able to deliver in the timelines that have been promised there. In terms of operating, these projects offer fairly stable operating profile in absence of fuel risk in terms of whether price fluctuations or supply quantity risk. However, the resource estimation of such natural resources is a sophisticated science, and engagement with internationally reputed consultants, experts in this domain and our scrutiny of their work is a must, and that adds a significant value to us. We have evolved a framework for sizing of debt with respect to the estimations, the statistical estimation of natural resources. So at probability of 90% exceedance, we like to have a specific minimum DSCRs. For evacuation risk to be mitigated, we stipulate a load flow analysis for those projects. We carry out a DISCOM profiling based on the DISCOM's financial position, the state government's financial position as well as their payment track record, which essentially factors in the delay risk so that we can adequately put in the cushion, liquidity cushion in terms of DSRA or working capital. Additionally, wherever the PPAs are not signed, we look at the RPO obligations and the compliance thereof for the respective state governments and the DISCOMs to understand the intent in terms of signing of PPAs. We also review performance on plant availability or PLFs on a periodical basis, along with tracking of the cash flows in the TRAs. It may be mentioned that we have so far not had any SMAs or any restructurings or NPA as part of our portfolio in renewable energy.
L&T Infra Finance has become an admired and inspirational financial institution in renewable energy financing and is a preferred partner for many banks and financial institutions in this segment.
The genesis of financial advisory services in L&T Infra date back to the year 2008. Till date, we must have syndicated debt to the extent of about 35,000 crores. We are a preferred partner. This is on the premise that we are a co-lender to the project, not a purely pay syndicator. What differentiates us is the amount of due diligence that we do and the quality of our in-depth knowledge which comes from the parent company, that is L&T. The debt advisory services in the last 18 months must have downsold debt to the extent of 2,000 crores. Co-underwriting is another aspect that we have been looking at, and I would take this opportunity to invite all our friends to join hands with us for co-underwriting.
So what are conclusions from our experience in renewable financing and rotary financing over the last few years? There are a few key conclusions. One is to reiterate a very disciplined and knowledge-based approach to project financing. Project financing cannot be standardized in a manner where every project gets the same solution, and every project therefore requires lenders to understand the nuance of the project financing and develop structures and risk mitigation structures appropriately. At the same time, collectively as a consortium, we need to deliver solutions quick and fast to the client in a very dynamic environment and a changing environment, the consortium should not act as a drag on the ability of a borrower to adjust to changing circumstances. The other trends that we see is to facilitate this smaller consortiums. Consortiums will start becoming 6 to 8 members, and many of the consortiums will do a joint underwriting solution on day one, which will ensure customer gets a comprehensive solution quickly and efficiently, and is able to take his project to IRR much faster. Last but not the least, we also see that renewable as a sector is going to be of such a low risk that it will start providing annuity-like returns, where retail customers can directly start financing these projects at some stage in their life cycle. And we as bankers have to facilitate that there rather than stand in the way. And where we give structures such as partial credit guarantee or other structures which enable conversions of these loans into bonds and placement with the public at large. And that is the eventual future of the sector, to enable it scale up to the level as envisaged by the Government of India. Thank you.
India's target of 175 gigawatt of renewable power by 2022 requires ardent support from all stakeholders, including us. We invite you all to partner with L&T Infra Finance to contribute towards India's emergence as a global renewable player and contribute our bit towards a greener future.